Sit back and throw one back with your pinky in the air and a middle finger to the world. And join me, the eclectic gentleman Stephen Watts, and the rest of the Gentleman Bastard Brigade as we look back on this day in pro wrestling history. But before we do, put that drink down, like, share, and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get our wrestling nerd on. It is March 6th, and we're going to start off as we always do on a positive note. That's right, these are your pro wrestling birthdays. 1947, Killer Khan. 1971, Sean Morley, aka Val Venus. 1976, Mr. Anderson. Ken Kennedy, Ken Anderson, whatever you want to call him. And last but not least, 1979, David Flair. Of course, on the flip side of that coin, your pro wrestling deaths for March 6th. 2004, Ray Fernandez, who you would know better as Hercules. 2007, Bad News Allen. Alright, enough of the sad stuff. It's time to get to the meat and potatoes. That's right, these are your pro wrestling history highlights for March 6th. Alright, we're starting today in the 30s, specifically 1939. Jesse James defeats Danny McShane by disqualification in the third of 3 falls in Hollywood, California, to become recognized as the World Light Heavyweight Champion by the California State Athletic Commission. However, the National Wrestling Association retained its recognition of McShane. This ended McShane's second reign in California. Jump into 1945. Pierre LaBelle defeats Frankie Talabar to win the Midwest Wrestling Association World Junior Heavyweight title in Dayton, Ohio, ending Talabar's 4th reign. Leaping into 1951, Al Mills defeats Sky High Lee in Edmonton, Alberta for the Calgary NWA Canadian Heavyweight title, beginning his 2nd reign. 1952, Sonny Myers defeats Enrique Torres to win the NWA Heart of American Heavyweight title in Kansas City, Kansas, beginning his 2nd reign. 1953, this day in history does not do well for Danny McShane, as Bill Curry defeats him to become the first NWA Texas Brass Knuckles champion in Houston, Texas. And our last stop in the 50s today, 1959, Angelo Savaldi defeats Ivan the Terrible for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, beginning his 3rd reign. Time for a brief stop into the 60s. 1962, Art and Stan Nielsen defeat Johnny Berend and Magnificent Maurice for the American Wrestling Alliance Tag Team titles. Suplexing into the 70s, 1970, Fred Blassie wins his 3rd NWA America's Heavyweight title in Los Angeles, California, defeating Rocky Johnson. This day in history continues to pile on Rocky Johnson, as in 1974, Carl and Kurt Von Brunner defeat Rocky Johnson and Pat Patterson to win the San Francisco NWA World Tag Team titles. Staying in 1974, Jumbo Miyamoto defeats Jane O'Brien to win the WWWA World Singles title in Mahishi, Japan, to begin her 2nd reign. The title was vacated days before when Bambi Ball was injured. One last stop in 1974, Eddie Sullivan defeats John Quinn for the Superstar Championship Wrestling Western States Heavyweight title. 1975, Chris Colt defeats Bob Kelly for the NWA Mississippi Heavyweight title. 1979, the Valiant Brothers, Jerry and Johnny, defeat Tony Guerrera and Larry Zbyszko to win the Worldwide Wrestling Federation World Tag Team titles at a championship wrestling taping in Allentown, Pennsylvania. The match would air on March 24th. Making a quick stop in the 80s, 1988, Kerry Von Erich defeats Al Perez to win the World Class Heavyweight title in Dallas, Texas. Now into the decade of grunge, 1990, Terry Gordy and Steve Williams win their first of 5 AJPW Unified World Tag Team titles from Stan Hansen and Tenryu in Tokyo, Japan. Staying in Japan but jumping up a year in 1991, Hiroshi Haas and Kensuke Sasaki win their second IWGP World Tag Team titles in Nagasaki, Japan by defeating Hiro Saito and Super Strong Machine. 1993. 3 Mid-Eastern Wrestling Federation titles are decided in Gaithersburg, Maryland. First, Bob Starr defeats CC Danger to become the first MEWF Mid-Atlantic Champion. Next, the Lightning Kid, Sean Waltman, defeats Jimmy Jannetty for the MEWF Light Heavyweight title. And last but not least, Ricky Lane and Quinn Nash defeat Ricky Blues and Nick Tarantino to win the MEWF Tag Team titles. 1994. At a television taping at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, there were 3 title changes. First, the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock, defeated Kevin Sullivan and the Tasmaniac to win the ECW Tag Team titles, ending Sullivan and Tasmaniac's second reign. This would be the first of 4 reigns for the Public Enemy. The Tasmaniac defeated Sabu for the ECW television title, but lost it later in the event to J.T. Smith. 1997. Kid Dynamo, a.k.a. Shannon Moore, defeats Will-O-the-Wisp, Jeff Hardy, to win the National Championship Wrestling Light Heavyweight title in Asheville, North Carolina. NCW merged with NWA Georgia in 1998 to create NWA Wildside. 1998. Steve Corino wins his second Mid-Eastern Wrestling Federation Light Heavyweight title in Baltimore, Maryland, defeating Flex Wheeler for the vacant title. And last but not least, 1999. Vader defeats Akira Tua to win the AJPW Triple Crown in Tokyo, Japan. The title had been vacated by Kawada on January 29th after suffering a broken arm during his January 22nd title match over Misawa. Those were your pro wrestling history highlights for March 6th. I'm the eclectic gentleman, Stephen Watts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.